The year is 1945. The world is on fire. And at its center, buried beneath 6 meters of reinforced concrete in the heart of a dying city, a man sits alone with the wreckage of his own making. Berlin is burning. Soviet artillery pounds the city with merciless rhythm, shaking the earth above the bunker with every passing hour. The streets above are rivers of rubble, smoke, and desperation. And yet, 60 feet underground, the clocks still tick. Orders are still issued. Maps are still marked, as if the armies on them still exist. It is the 20th of April, 1945. A birthday is being celebrated. Champagne is poured. Generals stand stiffly in a concrete corridor and offer hollow congratulations. The man receiving them, they all know that the war is lost, but no one dares say it out loud. The Soviet forces are less than 15 kilometers from where they stand. 15 kilometers. In another time, that would be a morning's drive. Now, it is the sound of boots closing in on a man who once commanded millions. Outside the bunker, Berlin's last defenders are being thrown into the meat grinder. Teenage boys, old men, anyone who can hold a rifle. They are positioned in rubble fields and told to stop the Red Army. Most of them will not survive the week. Their commander is a shadow in a concrete room, issuing orders to units that no longer exist. On April 21st, Soviet shells begin landing inside the city limits for the first time. The psychological effect is immediate and devastating. Staff officers ask them. Generals beg for permission to withdraw. The answer is always the same. Hold the line. Hold the line. But there is no line left to hold. Then comes the moment that cracks the final illusion. General Steiner's army, ordered to launch a counterattack that would supposedly turn the tide, does not move. It cannot move. It barely exists. When the news reaches the bunker, what follows is one of the most terrifying outbursts in the final chapter of World War II. A conference room, a table of maps, and a man who finally, for the first time, accepts what everyone around him has known for months. The war is lost. He screams it. He weeps it. He declares that he has been surrounded by traitors and cowards. Then, in the same breath, he announces that he will remain in Berlin. He will die in Berlin. The countdown has truly begun. April 2. Hermann Goering, hundreds of miles away in Bavaria, sends a telegram. He interprets the announcement of staying in Berlin as an abdication of leadership and asks if he should assume command. The response is swift and brutal. Goering is stripped of all titles, accused of treason, and placed under arrest. The inner circle is consuming itself. April 23rd. Heinrich Himmler, the man who built the machinery of genocide, is secretly meeting with a Swedish diplomat. He is attempting to negotiate a separate peace with the Western Allies, behind the back of the man who trusted him with everything. When word of this betrayal reaches the bunker 2 days later, the reaction is volcanic. Himmler, the loyal Heinrich, called a traitor. The last loyalties are shredding apart. April 25th. Berlin is now fully encircled. Soviet forces from the north and south have linked up west of the city. There is no way out by land. The Reich that was promised to last 1,000 years has been reduced to a pocket of rubble 12 kilometers wide. Aircraft can still land on a makeshift strip near the Brandenburg Gate, but not for long. The bunker's inhabitants begin receiving final visitors. Some have flown in at great personal risk. Others are saying goodbye before attempting escape. There is a strange, almost theatrical quality to these final days, as if everyone is playing a role in a drama they know is ending, but cannot bring themselves to exit the stage. April 26th. Soviet forces are now 4 kilometers from the bunker. 4 kilometers. The sounds of battle are no longer distant rumbles. They are sharp, close, immediate. April 28th. The wedding In a concrete room with peeling walls and fluorescent light, with Soviet artillery shaking the ceiling, a civil ceremony takes place. Papers are signed. Vows are spoken. A small gathering of the remaining inner circle bears witness to the strangest marriage of the 20th century. Afterward, there is champagne. There are tears. Then come the reports. Soviet forces are in the Tear Garden. They are approaching Potsdamer Platz. They are less than a kilometer away. April 29th. The final testament is dictated. Pages that blame the world for everything, absolve the author of nothing, and appoint a new...
The morning of April 30th arrives cold and grey. Somewhere above, in the ruins of what was once one of Europe's great capitals, the sound of Soviet rifles is just blocks away. Inside the bunker, those who remain say their goodbyes. Some are weeping. Some are composed. Some have the hollow look of people who have simply run out of feeling. Shortly after, at approximately 3:30 in the afternoon, a single gunshot is heard in the private quarters of the Führerbunker. Then, silence. A few moments later, a second. What follows is a carefully pre-planned sequence. The removal of 2 bodies, fuel that had been set aside for exactly this purpose, and a shallow trench in the garden of the Reich chancellery above. Soviet shells are landing within meters. The flames are lit. And in the smoke and chaos of a city in its final death spasm, the architect of the 20th century's greatest catastrophe is gone.
May 1st. Word reaches the outside world in fragments. Confused, then confirmed. Joseph Goebbels, who has remained in the bunker with his family, now makes his own irreversible choice. His wife has already poisoned their 6 children. By nightfall, he and his wife are also dead. The bunker empties. The survivors scatter into a city already being claimed by Soviet soldiers, street by street.
May 2nd, Berlin officially surrenders. The guns in the city fall silent for the first time in weeks. Soviet soldiers raise their flag over the smouldering ruins of the Reichstag. A photographer captures the moment. The image will define the end of an era. On the streets below, a city of millions begins to process what has just happened and what it will cost them for the rest of their lives.
The war in Europe would not officially end until May 8th. But those final 10 days in the bunker, those 10 compressed, claustrophobic, catastrophic days, were in many ways the truest portrait of everything the regime had always been. The self-deception, the cruelty, the loyalty extracted through fear and now dissolving. The total refusal to face a reality that millions of others had paid for with their lives. History does not offer many endings this complete. A man who reshaped the world through violence, paranoia, and absolute power, reduced at last to a concrete room, a failing map, and the sound of his enemies drawing closer with every breath. April 1945 was not just